everybody, it's K-Ball here from ZURB. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to submit a building block to the new Foundation Building Blocks site. If you haven't already watched it, check out our previous video on how to create a building block. Submitting a building block is as easy as submitting a pull request on GitHub, but we're going to talk through a little bit more. What makes for a good building block and what makes it most likely that your building block will be accepted. Let's get to it. Now, let's get into how you submit a building block. For this tutorial, we're going to use the building block that we created in the how to build a building block video. So we're going to use this new Yeti card that we put together. And in case you don't remember, it was really simple. We had a Yeti card class with just a max width on it. It's using the Foundation card containers, so it's not doing anything complicated. It has a Yeti JavaScript where you click on this thing, you get an alert. Nothing big. Assuming this was a valuable building block, how would I submit it? So all of these submissions are running through GitHub pull requests. If you're not familiar with GitHub pull requests, there's some great resources out there. I'm not going to walk through that in great detail right now, but we can include a couple of links. In fact, we'll put a couple of links on here for where you might find that. But what we're going to do is we're going to go check out this building blocks repo. And we're going to fork it. So I'm going to fork this into my personal account. And this is where I'm going to submit the pull request from this personal account. I'm going to look at our code. Our code is currently in place under new Yeti card. Source building blocks, new Yeti card. I hadn't actually committed it. So I'm going to first add these as a commit. We'll create a sample building block. Your commit name should actually be quite descriptive of what this thing is. We've already put our description in here with YAML. If I had cloned from my my repository originally, I wouldn't have to do this, but I'm going to add this as a remote. So I'm going to git add remote personal. Oops. How does it go? Git remote add personal this. So if I look at my Git remotes, I've got personal. I'll push this up to here, and what I'll see on GitHub once I push that branch is you get this nice little thing saying, hey, you have a branch. Do you want to do a compare and pull request? So I'm going to set up a pull request, take a look at it. Let's make sure, looking through this, do I have everything? I've got my HTML, I've got my JavaScript, I've got my Sass, I've got my YAML. There is actually one thing that I'm missing before I can really submit this as a request that can be accepted. I need a thumbnail for it. And that thumbnail is used to display over here as I'm looking through. And if I were to actually look at where this thing is living right now, it doesn't have a thumbnail. So before I can fully get this thing merged, I'll need to create a thumbnail. Now this is something that we can help out with if you don't have any design tools, but let's just really quickly look at what that might look like. So for a thumbnail, we have these, we're basically going to put things on a gray background. We're using the size 770 width, 510 height. So try to hit that. You can see that on any of the thumbnail images that are in there. And we're using a gray background here. You can see it's 230, 232, 235. You don't have to exactly match this, but we might be a little sad if you look a lot different. So not every building block thumb is exactly the same, but they all follow the same general convention. So what I'm going to do to get that is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to grab a screenshot of my card. And I'm using Sketch to do this, but you can use any sort of screenshotting tool that you want. I'm going to take that screenshot, drop it in here. Doesn't look great having the gray on gray background, so I might change that. I might embed this a little bit. I'm not going to worry about it for this demo, but generally you want this to look visually nice, give it a very good foot forward for your building block. I'm going to put a little drop shadow on it, so do a big blur, but then make it pretty transparent. This is what we've been doing for our building blocks. Is we'll put a drop shadow on it, 11% opacity, and 3Y 50 blur. Take this thing, artboard. I'm going to export it to my new Yeti card. Where's my new Yeti card? Oh, this is not in my demo folder. This is my old folder. So if I go back into Git, go into demos, building blocks. All right, here we go. So source building blocks. My new Yeti card should be in here. Here it is. I'm going to name it as new Yeti card as well. So once again, all the names are matching. For now, we are doing all this as PNGs. So make a new Yeti card or whatever your component name is, PNG. Got it in there. It automatically updates once it's in there, and we should see now if we go to the end here, look, our thumbnail's already in there. So that's the last step we need in order to be ready to submit. I'm going to add that, and then so add a thumb, push that up once again to my personal branch so that I can create it as a pull request. Once that's up there, I can actually just reload this page and it should be there as a second commit. All right, so then in order to submit this as a pull request, you just add, okay, new Yeti card, a demonstration building block, and we will create a pull request. And then I or one of the other maintainers of the building blocks would actually come back to the ZURB building blocks. We would see these pull requests. Here it is. I would look in here, look at the files changed, and start giving you a review. Now I can tell you a couple things that I would review on this, on our sample. One, I'd say something like, what is this? This is a weird JavaScript piece. This is probably not the type of thing that we'd want to include, something that's doing bad practices like a loud alert, things like that. A couple other things to note is all of your SAS, all of your classes and styles should be scoped by the name of the building block. So we actually have an issue here, which I'm calling it new Yeti card. This should probably say class equals, new Yeti card, not Yeti card, just to match. Any sort of styling we do inside of it, if we were to style, for example, the card divider class, that's a core foundation class. We wouldn't want to have the building block style that flat. You could style it inside, scoped by the outer class name. The core idea here is these building blocks need to be plug and play with other elements in your system. So any sort of styling and any sort of JavaScript that you're doing in here should ideally be scoped to the building block itself in such a way that if I install multiple of these, I'm not going to have collisions, I'm not going to be breaking existing code, and I can just plug and play as many building blocks as I want without any problems. Other things that we might do to get a better chance of success, author should probably include some of your social profiles. It should include GitHub, Foundation Forum ID, Twitter profile, things like that. We already have this in a category, description. Be good to be a little bit more descriptive than this. All these things are going to contribute to your getting a building block accepted. Now, don't worry if you don't have this all figured out, right? You put something together, you submit it on a pull request. You can say, on a comment or in the open, not sure if this is ready. Can you help me out? And we will jump in there and help you get this thing across the line. But, that's really it. Coming in here, I closed it because this one is actually a demonstration for this video. We're not actually going to merge our silly new Yeti card. But it's as easy as that. This is the same as submitting anything into Foundation. It's the same as submitting it to any open source repo. You just submit it as a pull request. All right, so now you've seen how easy it is to submit a building block, and you've learned about what types of things we're looking for and what makes for a good one. The next thing is for you to engage your creative juices and get your building block in. I can't wait to see what it is you have to offer, so get to it, and I'll see you on GitHub.